Hello again. It is me, Ms. Hello from Hollywood. Today is the 9th day of my 30-day yoga challenge, the second day of my second week, and today went really, really well. I mean, after I got out of bed, I woke up to Harold hacking and making these horrible cat puke noises, and he puked up a hair tie. Not this hair tie. The hair tie he puked up is now, it's gone the way of the dodo. But somehow he ate this. He's a little tiny 6-pound cat, and somehow he ate a hair tie. And I mean, he loves to eat things that are not flavorful or meant to be eaten. He loves to steal dry pasta, and he hides it like underneath the washing machine. So anyway, it was just gross, and that's how I woke up, and that's my story. And then I went to yoga, and things were awesome. I'm really starting to understand the flow of the yoga class and starting to see patterns. And while I can't necessarily anticipate what's going to happen next, I definitely feel confident in moving from one thing to another. The yoga I'm doing is called power yoga. It's where you always want to synchronize movements with breath when you're doing yoga, but this is a lot of movements in fairly quick succession. So like you breathe in on and up, and then you fold over while you breathe out, and constant moving and twisting. And I'm getting better at it. I'm getting a lot better at it. There's 45 to 50 minutes of the really hard, constant power yoga. There's a couple of minutes in the beginning and at the end of gentle stretching. There's about 15 minutes of intense stretching after the 45-minute power yoga segment. And then there's some like meditation at the end and a little bit at the beginning. So it's really a lot of different activities. Oh yeah, and then there's 15 minutes of ab work. And I really, really suck at that. I'm not good. I'm not good. I have very little core strength. I really let that go, and I can tell in class. I did do an inversion today, though. I did a headstand against the wall, which was exciting. My arms aren't super strong either, but apparently they're stronger than my abs because they could hold my big ass up in the air. But it feels good to be getting better. And over the past week, I've really had to trust in the idea of the cumulative effect. I mean, it's hard to stay motivated. It's not like I went to yoga for an hour and a half and left skinny. I mean, I'm still the same person. But I want to trust in that cumulative effect. I want to trust in the process of getting better. Jackie on Twitter this morning asked me about that and asked about motivation and about patience with yourself. And it all kind of ties in together. You really have to trust in that cumulative effect in order to stay motivated. And you really need to have patience with yourself in the moment and remain focused on that commitment to the practice in order to get there. I hope that makes sense. And I definitely would like to expound on that a little bit more this week as I sort it out in my head. I mean, the thing that gets me every morning to that mat, I have to walk down the street and go to the yoga studio. It's the idea that in 6 months, I'll be in much better shape. It's the idea that in a year, I'll be in much better shape. It's the idea that in a month, I'll be in much better shape. I mean, you're not going to have an effect. I mean, there's some things that will affect you that day. Like when I leave yoga, I definitely have all the endorphins running, and I feel really energized and healthy. But I obviously haven't lost all the weight I wanted to lose or achieved the flexibility I wanted to achieve. I have to keep going back for that. And that keeps me motivated, the idea that there will be a cumulative effect from this. I've seen a lot of small changes over the past week. Every time I leave a class, I see a little small change. Maybe I'm standing taller. My shoulders feel better. They're, rooted back into my shoulder blades. So I'm having good posture. My chest is up. All of these small changes become big changes. It becomes a bigger change because it all adds up. I mean, you don't get fat from having one piece of cake. You know what I'm saying? Like you get bigger by, it's like little teaspoons of fat. It's not like an instantaneous thing, and getting in shape is kind of the same thing. You have to work through it. And intention becomes action. This is something I thought about this morning. Every day at the beginning of class, the instructor, says if you want to, you can set an intention for the class. And my intention for most of last week was to get through the class. I just wanted to stay in the room. I didn't want to wimp out. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to sit down on my mat too much. I just wanted to stay in the room. This week, yesterday, and today, my intention has been to stay in the moment, to keep moving. Even though I'm tired, I'm just going to keep pushing my body to do the next pose, the next pose, the next pose, and then all of a sudden the class is over. So intention becomes action. If you intend to do something and you move towards doing it and you do it, then you've done it, and it becomes action. And consistent action becomes commitment. You know, if I take the action of going to the yoga studio every day, eventually I've committed. After, 3 or 4 weeks, then I will have a commitment to my yoga practice. Commit to showing up, and once again, committing to the cumulative effect is what's going to keep you motivated. Patience comes from recognizing that you're doing your best. If I go to yoga class and I sort of I don't do as well as I know that I could have, that can be frustrating and discouraging. I think it's best to recognize that you're doing your best, but in that recognition, to also acknowledge what your best is, what you have the potential of doing. And motivation happens when you see results, and you'll only see results when you expend energy being consistent. I'm going to repeat that because I think it's good. Motivation happens when you see results. You will only see results when you expend energy being consistent. Participation is really the key. You just have to show up and get in there and go. Whatever your practice is, whether you're running or doing P90X or doing Insanity or whatever it is, even if it's just walking around the block, you really have to keep getting out there and doing it and trusting that eventually there will be a payoff. I mean, we all like instant gratification. Who doesn't? Everyone wants to have things instantly happen. But anything that's really worthwhile, it's not going to go down like that. So that's what I have to say. I'm really proud of myself. And the teacher I'm not sure if I mentioned this yet, but at the end of the class, the teacher said that she could see changes in my practice. And that was really motivating to hear someone else acknowledge what I'm doing. And for them to say that they saw changes. It really made me feel good, and it's definitely going to keep me going back. So this has been a pretty long video diary. I hope that it's been somewhat entertaining. I'll be back tomorrow, and please leave a comment if there's anything you'd like to hear my opinion on, any question I could answer, any suggestion you have. I'd really love to hear it. Please participate, and let's start a dialogue about this. Let's do this together. And Jackie Cake on Twitter has decided to commit to doing a fitness she's decided to commit to doing a 30-day fitness challenge too. So you should Twitter her and blab at her about that. And she has a Tumblr too. If you just go to my Twitter, which is @SimplyMiz, you can look her up. And let's include her in this discussion too, because it's exciting. And anyone else wants to join, let me know. And we'll talk about you too. So that's that. I hope that you're having a wonderful, beautiful, amazing day. And I hope that you are going to choose to commit to something too like this. It's exciting. It feels really good to do this. All right. Later, Internet.